If you're looking to start your calisthenics journey, let me help you to do it the right way. In this video, I'm going to share the 3 foundations of calisthenics and the best exercises to build them at home just using your own body weight. And if you're a beginner or even a bit more intermediate, this is going to be perfect for you because these foundations will help you build strength faster, avoid injuries and create the right base for advanced calisthenics. If you only focus on these 3 things, you will finally be unlocking those calisthenics skills and that dream physique you've been working towards so hard. So let's get started with the first foundation. So the first thing that I want you to understand before strength, before skills, before anything in calisthenics, you need to work on full body control. Because calisthenics is just so much different than regular weightlifting. In weightlifting, you're just moving a weight, but in calisthenics, you move your entire body through space. So if your body isn't stable and connected, it becomes so much harder. And the muscle that connects everything in your body is your core. I hear you thinking core is just abs, right? But that's completely false. Your core is so much more than just your abs. But the core is also the obliques, it's the lower back, it's the glutes, it's the hips and even the muscles around your spine, all working together to stabilize your body. So let me go over a few core fundamental exercises that you really need to dial in before thinking about anything else in calisthenics, because they come back in every calisthenics workout, exercise whatsoever. So the first exercise is the hollow body hold. And you can actually see this exercise in almost all calisthenics exercises like the push-ups, handstands, levers and even the planche. So you lay down on the floor, tuck your knees in and you make sure your lower back is always in contact with the floor. Then you extend out your arms and your legs simultaneously. And you try to hold this position. Really focus on actively crunching your upper abs and keeping your core engaged throughout the movement. And if this variation is just too hard for you, like this, you can always make it a bit easier by either tucking your knees in, or you can also hold the diagonal hollow body position. So that's the first foundational core exercise, the hollow body hold. So now let's go over the second one, and that is the plank position, the elbow plank. And this is a base exercise because this one also comes back in many exercises. For example, the push-up, handstand push-up. And it gives you a feel on how to activate your scapula. Because most people, when they do a plank, they just try to hold the position as long as they can, without thinking about how their core is engaged. But that is not how you build strength and a proper foundation in calisthenics. So what you really need to be focusing on is rather holding it for a less amount of seconds, but with the perfect form. So how does that look like? So you put your elbows on the floor like this. You stack your shoulder directly above your elbow. And from here, you already put yourself in the right position. So push into the floor, create it rounded upper back so you actively spread your scapula apart, your shoulder blades, and now you just extend the other leg and really squeeze your glutes as hard as you can and keep holding this. All right, let's do this together. And even if this is too hard at the moment, you can just drop your knees and keep working on this position. It's more about getting to know how to actively control your full body from head to toe than just doing an exercise which isn't with the perfect proper form. So now that you can control your body, it's time to build strength. But here's where many beginners make another huge mistake. They just do random exercises without understanding movement patterns. In calisthenics, we train upper body strength through different movement planes. And in calisthenics, there are 4 main ones. We've got horizontal push, we've got vertical push, we got vertical pulling, and we've got horizontal pulling. And then for the legs, we're working in 2 main chains. The first one is the anterior chain, which focuses on the front side of your legs. And then we've got the posterior chain, in which we focus on the back side of our legs. So let's go through them all very briefly and show the most important exercises and progressions in those movement planes. So for the horizontal push, we've got the most foundational exercise in calisthenics, and that is the push-up. But the thing is, most people do the push-up wrong. They either let their hips drop or they not activating their core, they're losing the core tension and sinking into the shoulders, or even worse, and that is doing these tiny range of motion reps like this. But this is not how you build strength, because the most important part of the movement is when the muscles are fully stretched right here at the bottom. So when the chest almost touches the floor, and then you push back up from there. So what I want you to focus on in the push-up is the straight body alignment that we've learned earlier in this video with the hollow body hold and the elbow plank. So think about the hollow body hold, where you really tuck in your pelvis like this, squeeze your glutes together, push your hips away. So now we've got a stable base, and from here you want to go fully down, just like this, elbows alongside your body, and from here you push back up. So this is 1 rep. That is how a push-up should look like, and depending on your level you can make this a bit harder. So this can be the regular push-up that I've just shown you, but you can also do the pseudo push-up where you lean a bit more forward like this, and you do a push-up while you lean more forward like this and push back up. Or even if you're getting into the more advanced stage of calisthenics, you can do tucked planche push-ups in which you keep your feet off the floor like this and then start doing your push-ups. Now let's move on to vertical push. So vertical pushing builds the strength you need for exercises like the handstand and the handstand push-up. And one of the best exercises to start training vertical pushing is the pike push-up. You place your hands on the floor. Now you bring your hips up, so your body forms a triangle. You lean forward, you keep looking forward, and now you go down, look forward, and push back up. But this is the part where most beginners make a mistake. They either push up and arch the lower back like this, or they flare their elbows out. So it looks like this, and then flare the elbows out to the side. Or is they do the push-ups, pike push-ups like this, keeping the head in between the arms, looking through the arms, and instead of pushing straight up, they push backwards. So with this exercise, it's really important that you keep your elbows always stacked above your wrists. Let me give you a pro tip that I give to my online clients, and that is using something like a bottle or a yoga block and put it directly behind your hand. So now you have your elbow stacked above your hand. So now you are forced to push straight up like this. Because if I flare my elbows out now backwards like this, I knock my bottle down. So there's one other thing that you can use as a beginner, and that is a small elevation, like a low table or something sturdy like this. So now you can do the incline pike push-up, which makes this exercise a lot easier, and you can still practice the movement and really focus on perfect form. So you grab the object on the edge right here, again, hollow body position right here, and now you move forward and back up. You can also do the elevated pike push-up, where you elevate your feet just like this, and now you move forward and push back up. Now let's move on to the third plane of movement, and that is horizontal pulling. So pulling strength is something most beginners struggle with because they don't have a pull-up bar. But guess what? At home training, you can always just use a table, at least if you have a sturdy table. You can use the table to do your rows and your vertical pulling on. You bring yourself underneath the table like this, you grab the edge of the table, you bring your hips up just like this, and you start pulling your chest towards the table. So this is how you can build your back muscles, your rear delts and your biceps just from training at home. So now, depending on your level, you can also make this a little bit harder. So the first variation would be just with your knees tucked in like this and pulling yourself like this. Then the next one, you can straighten out your legs. This is already gonna make it a lot harder. So pull up like this, and I can really feel my lats working. Or if you really want to go next level, you got to be a little bit careful here. You can put your feet on an elevation like your chairs and start pulling and do elevated rows just like this. So this is a great option on how to train your back muscles from home. So now for the next plane of movement, which is vertical pulling. This plane of movement is used for building your pull-ups and also your muscle-ups in your calisthenics journey. We bring our feet closer to the hips as possible. Now you stand up like this, so your butt is not touching the floor. And from here, we're gonna do past pull-ups. So we pull ourselves up, we hold the top position, and this is basically the exact position as in a pull-up. So you're really working those lats, rear delts, and you go down as controlled as possible. If you wanna make this a little bit harder, you can also do this on one leg. So you put one leg off the floor, like this, and now pull yourself up, hold this position, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. So now that we've got that down, let's start working those legs. Most beginners think calisthenics is only about training the upper body, but training your legs is just as important. And with leg training, we focus on two main chains. The anterior chain, which focuses on the front side of your body, and the posterior chain, which focuses on the back side of your body. But let's focus on some exercise that you can do to train your anterior chain. And in calisthenics, the most foundational one is the regular air squat. You stand facing forward, your feet are in line with your hips and your toes are pointing a little bit outward, just like this. And from here you drop down, knees are tracking your toes, chest is facing forward, and you push back up. So two of the most common mistakes with the squat is bringing the knees together like this, but really pressing your knees outwards when you're pushing up. So think about really pressing out, and then squat up. The second one is rounding your upper back. So instead of keeping your chest nice and straight and forward, a lot of people tend to move forward, rounding their upper back, and now you're actually turning a squat more into a lower back exercise. So those are two things that you really want to avoid. Let's focus on some progressions that you can do and start building those strong legs from home. So the first one is the air squat. The second one, we can use a couch, and that is the single leg squat, also known as the pistol squat. So this first actually starts with an assisted pistol squat. So you want to stand close to the couch, and now you want to bring one leg up in the air. You go down, and now you want to try squatting back up while only using your right leg, just like this. Make sure to do both sides. You can then start working on the regular pistol squat. So going all the way down, going all the way up. But honestly, I would be a fool to recommend you to just go straight from the assisted pistol squat to regular full range of motion pistol squats on the floor. So to bridge the gap, we can use elevated pistol squats by using an elevation like this again, stand on top of it. Now you just simply have more space to move on to the squat right here. So now you don't really need the compression strength, and you can press back up. If you have mastered this variation, there's another pro tip I can give you to really bridge the gap between the elevated pistol squat and the regular pistol squat. And that is by using a simple book like this. So you place it on the floor and you use this as a small elevation underneath your foot. And this is for people that don't have the ankle mobility yet to be in this super deep squat position. So now this will help you to go down like this and press back up. So now let's focus on the posterior chain, and this is actually the most neglected movement plane in calisthenics, while it's still super important because a lot of this strength carries over to a lot of exercises and skills in calisthenics. So for the posterior chain, we can start working with the glute bridges, which starts on the floor, and with this exercise we're really training our hip flexors, which is super important in calisthenics, and our glutes and lower back muscles. So you bring your glutes up like this, really squeeze your glutes as hard as you can, and keep holding this position for about 3 seconds and come back down. So I can imagine this can be quite easy, maybe not, maybe it will, but then we can also progress this exercise from home using the couch. So we can simply get into the couch and do the hip thrust. So we have more range of motion here. So we bring our glutes all the way down, press them up, hold the position, and go down. Then the next variation, if this one feels easy for you, you can really start challenging yourself with the single leg hip thrust. So now you bring one foot off the floor in the air. Make sure you don't start wiggling around, but you want to keep the core tension. So you keep a straight body right here. You point your toe. Now you go down. Your glutes almost touches the floor, and you press back up. Now finally, let's work on your shoulder mobility, as this is crucial in calisthenics and needed for many calisthenic skills like the handstand push-up, the human flag, the back lever, you name it. But if you can't freely move your shoulders overhead, you will usually compensate by arching your lower back, like this. And this is where most beginners get stuck or even get injured in their lower back when moving on to more advanced calisthenic skills. So that is what we want to avoid at all times. One key exercise that you can do right now from your own home is the standing overhead shoulder stretch. So you just stand tall, and now instead of arching your lower back, to avoid this, I want you to focus on keeping a good posterior pelvic tilt throughout the whole movement. So what I want you to do is actively engage your glutes, tuck your pelvis in and pushing your hips forward like this, while at the same time really engaging your core muscles. So this should feel like one solid rock which you cannot move. If someone would like punch you on the chest, you should not move backwards. So this should be really, really tight. From here, you're gonna raise your hands like this, keeping that posterior pelvic tilt, core engaged, as high as you can without arching your lower back. But by just doing this on a free space, you can't really see if you're arching your lower back. So instead, what I want you to do is use a wall and simulate this exact movement with the wall-assisted shoulder overhead stretch. So that looks like this. You walk 1 foot away from the wall. You can slightly bend your knees. I want you to think about making that same strong core position, posterior pelvic tilt, actively push your hips away from the wall, while, super important, keeping your lower back in contact with the wall. Now from here, you can try raising your arms again, while keeping your lower back in contact with the wall. Maybe your furthest is up till here, maybe here, maybe here. Mine is probably around here, while still holding my upper and lower back in contact with the wall. So now if you have reached your outer range of motion, you can strengthen and increase that range of motion by making small pulses. So we're gonna do about 5 pulses, so moving a little bit further with each pulse. So here we go, raise your arms, lower back in contact with the wall, and from here, pulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's hold this at the top for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's it. So you can do this for about 3 to 5 sets. And if you do this every single day, you will reap the benefits of your shoulder mobility in your calisthenics journey. Alright, so remember these 3 foundations: full body control, strength through all movement planes, and mobility. And if you focus on just these 3 aspects, you will build the perfect base for calisthenics. But the key thing, guys, to getting there is structure and not random workouts. So that is exactly why we have built the Calisthenics Family workout app with structured programs for each different goal and level. For example, if you just want to train from home, we have made no equipment home programs which takes you from ultra beginner to an advanced calisthenics athlete just from your own home. Next to that, we've also incorporated the full journey, our personal calisthenics program that we use to go from ultra beginner training from our own backyard to mastering calisthenics and learning almost all the calisthenics skills out there. We have flexibility and mobility programs for shoulder mobility, hip mobility, hamstring flexibility, and so much more. So make sure to check out the app, download the app now through the first link in the description, and start your calisthenics journey today completely for free. So make sure to download the app, and we welcome you to the Calisthenics family. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.